Himalayan was pretty much the beginning for a change in Royal Enfield's approach to its motorcycles. It was the most affordable ADV in India for long. It was indeed an instant hit. However, the demand was tapered a bit owing to quality concerns. But then it shot right back up when Royal Enfield tended to those issues with the BS4 model. But even so, off-road enthusiasts had a little bit of niggle with the fact that this did not have a switchable ABS, so you couldn't lock and slide. Now though, the 2020 model has that covered. So, is this the best Himalayan yet? Before we get into that, let me list some basic essentials. The BS6 Himalayan was launched late last month at prices starting at Rs 1.86 lakh ex-showroom. Keeping the Hero X-Pulse 200 in mind, the Himalayan is now the second most affordable ADV in the country. It now comes in 6 color options, including 2 dual-tone ones. Now let me quickly list the changes that have come about in the 2020 model. First of all, the engine is the same, a 411cc single. The power figure has come down by 0.2 bhp, so I wouldn't say this is a cut in power. The other change is the instrument cluster has now been updated. It now also has hazard lights, something that was missing from the earlier model. Well, an ADV should have hazard lights. Besides these, the biggest change here is that the ABS on the rear wheel can be switched off. Why is that required? Well, on off-roading, you might want to lock the rear wheel so you can do a slide. It makes it easier for off-roading and a lot more fun as well. I reckon the Himalayan continues to be one of the most comfortable propositions for indulging in long-distance rides. The suspension setup has enough travel in it to take on off-road with ease, assisted by a relaxed riding stance with neutrally placed foot pegs and a raised handlebar. Royal Enfield say that the brakes have been worked upon, and it does show. Especially the rear brake now has a better bite. However, overall braking experience still remains a bit spongy as it did before. One other significant change is that the Himalayan is now 5 kilograms heavier. Now on paper it might sound like it's lost power, gained weight, so it may feel a little sluggish. However, besides the fact that it is now a little bit more difficult for me to put it on main stand, once you're on the go, the changes don't really reflect on the way it performs. Now, vibrations used to be a concern with the Himalayan, but now with the BS6 model, I'd say they are slightly more controlled now. However, past 3000 RPM, everything in the rearview mirror is jiggly, you can't really figure out. The maximum speed that the Himalayan will do will be about 120, 125. So up till 80 to 100 kmph, it feels quite relaxed. The engine does not feel under a lot of stress. However, if you're going to push forwards beyond that, if you're redlining at 6500 RPM, vibrations do tend to set in. The ride dynamics on the 2020 Himalayan remain the same as the previous model. I'd say that for the messy bits on the road and for the bits off the road, standing up on the foot pegs on this motorcycle is confidence-inducing. While I mentioned the bike's heavier than before now, it barely reflects on the performance or on the way you interact with it. As far as parking it in a hilly terrain is concerned, you'll perhaps not need to use the main stand as much since the side stand has now been built sturdier. And now to answer my previous question, yes, this is the best Himalayan yet. If I be very honest, we haven't really taken it to a jungle trail, say, but then I have ridden the older model to Leh and I was perfectly happy on it. Besides the upgrades to the engine, the switchable ABS and a couple more changes, the Himalayan 2020 remains the same. In its 2020 version, the Himalayan now has a premium appeal to it. It's got more features, color options, and the vibrations are a bit controlled as well. I'd say that now the Himalayan is on the path to be more like the 650 twins in terms of finesse. Imagine if they build a 650 Himalayan. Won't that be something? Are you listening, Royal Enfield? Anywho, the point is that even with a price tag which is bigger by 6,000 rupees, I'd say the Himalayan still remains a fantastic value for money. Until next time.